So there's absolutely no doubt that when it comes to your wireless network, the router plays a pretty significant role in everything that you do. It's basically your gateway to the internet. If you choose the right router, then you're living in a blissful land of connectivity and speed. If you choose the wrong router, then you're living in a land of frustration and slowness. So knowing how important this decision is, Google's actually trying to step in with its Google Nest Wi-Fi system to make the decision as simple and as easy as possible. This router is really designed for that person who wants the simple plug and play, but they're also baking in some more advanced features for the person that wants to further customize their network. They're trying to serve two separate markets, but in doing so, does it neglect one market over the other? What kind of job does it do trying to service both the simple and the advanced networking market? We're going to find out in this review. So what exactly is the Google Nest Wi-Fi system? Well, it's basically just a router. It's Google's version of a smart router that you place inside your home that was released back in 2019, and it's basically their answer for connectivity throughout your entire home. And it comes in a couple of different flavors. So you can get the Nest Wi-Fi router itself for about $169, and that covers up to 2,200 square feet. You can also get the router bundled with 1 or 2 access points for $269 or $349 respectively, and you can even get just the access point separately later on if you deem it necessary for about $149. Now it has an expandable 802.11 mesh Wi-Fi, automatic Wi-Fi optimization, and this is just basically directing the traffic on your network to the proper channels that best suit that specific traffic. The router and access points can handle up to 100 connected devices at once and multiple simultaneous 4K video streaming. One of the things I really like about this router is its simplicity, both in the way that it looks. It's very unassuming, it's very well designed, it's going to sit and fit perfectly into any roomscape that you have. It's not going to stand out like a lot of those bulky antenna-ridden routers that you're probably used to. This one is very smooth, it's very cool, and it's very unassuming. If you put it on the table, people might not even know what it is, and I really like that overall design look. The other thing I do like is the simplicity of getting your network up and running. Google has made this as simple as possible. Simplicity is really the baked-in feature of this Google Nest router. Connecting it to your network can't be any easier. The setup process is really just downloading a Wi-Fi app, and it's compatible with Android or iOS. Once that application is downloaded, it basically walks you through the step of connecting your modem directly into the router. You then scan the router with the application, and then the setup process begins. It sets up the 2 GHz and the 5 GHz band for you. It shows you the traffic that's coming in, and it really does take a couple of minutes to get everything up and running and a Wi-Fi system established within your home. Now, ironically, the thing that I didn't like about the router itself is the same thing that I kind of liked about the router. The simplicity of it is kind of detrimental to me as well. Being a more advanced networking person, I was looking for the ability to access the network via an IP address in a web browser that I normally do to configure my routers. You don't have that option here. Everything that you're going to be doing with this router is done directly through the application on your phone or tablet. Now, to their credit, there's a ton of different options and features available within that application itself. It just seems a little bit more off-putting to control everything directly from an application rather than logging directly into the router itself to make the configurations. I can see where this is not as off-putting to someone who's not more advanced in networking and just kind of wants to get their network up and running. But for someone that kind of wants to dig into the router and do specific configurations, it can be a little off-putting to actually have to log into the application to gain access to your router and make the changes there. Now, once, and like I said, you have access to setting up DSNs, DHCPs, reserved IP addresses, port management. They even have a nifty option in there for gaming preferences. And what this basically does is, with this turned on, if you have like Google Stadia streaming application by Google, it prioritizes that specific traffic on your router to make sure there's no latency. So if you're one of those 2 Google Stadia users, you'll be all set. Now, ironically, what they don't tell you right off the bat is a lot of these advanced features actually have to be enabled on the application for you to gain access to them. I know, again, I really do believe that they did this to make the application as simple as possible and not really make anyone too intimidated by offering all those options up from the beginning And they kind of, I guess, figured for someone a little bit more advanced, they would do the digging to find the advanced options in the application. But it would have been nice for Google to kind of walk you through the setup process and kind of deem what level of experience you have with networking, and thus unlock those options for someone who's a little bit more advanced. Now, connection wise, I actually have no complaints about the overall connection of this router. I live in a 3-story home. I live at the bottom. The router is situated in the middle section, and I find that I get good connection from the bottom to the top and out from the house itself. About maybe 5 or 6 feet away, I'm still getting a connection, which is actually pretty cool, especially if you have some kind of camera or Wi-Fi system set up that needs access to your internet. It's good to know that you can spread that blanket out just a little bit further to make sure your coverage is all set. Now, the router itself does support a 2.45 gigahertz band. I stream 4K video and play games online a ton. I haven't really seen any hiccups or dramatic drop-offs with the actual router itself. I really do enjoy the job that it does with keeping the connection as stable and as steady as possible. Now, one of the things I do notice is that this router actually gets firmware updates automatically. As long as it's plugged in, I believe it checks for firmware updates like once every couple of hours or so. And once it finds the firmware update, it automatically updates. It lets you know that the firmware is updated, so there's nothing you have to do to actually update anything. Another really simple option by Google, which is appreciated. But what I found is that since the June firmware update that I received automatically, I'll notice that sometimes the internet will completely go out. The router will then try to reconnect, and that reconnection process can take some time. So I know that this can be resolved with a firmware update because it wasn't happening before that June firmware update kicked in. I'm hoping that Google addresses this issue pretty soon, but you can see where controlling the router's ability to upgrade the firmware would be a really great feature for them to include in those advanced options. Now, also, I really do hope that you have some kind of hub if you're going to be connecting any other wired or IEEE devices. This router itself has no connections in the back. It's basically just the 2 connections, the one that's coming from your modem into the router itself, and one more connection. That's it. So you have to kind of finagle your connections. Everything else would probably have to be connected wirelessly, but if you have wired connection, I kind of had to finagle and figure out how to get those things connected separately into another hub, because this router really is just a Wi-Fi system. Now, capability wise, this is compatible with just about any modem. I didn't see any incompatibility conflicts with the modems. If you have a modem from your ISP and a router from your ISP, you can actually just replace the router with this router and connect it into your modem, and you're good to go. So would I recommend the Google Wi-Fi Nest system? Yeah, I would. It does have some issues, mainly because it's trying to service 2 separate markets. It's trying to service that quick connect, simple connection user, and it's also trying to service a more advanced user that wants a little bit more configurations within their network system itself. And it ends up not servicing both well, but it does have enough good things there for it to be a recommendation. It offers a really simple, cool design that basically will fit anywhere that you want to put it in your home. That simple connect and configuration feature does come in handy even for the person that wants a little bit more advanced options. Those options are still going to be available. Plus the connection range, the connection speed, the ability to expand your network further with the wireless access points that double as Google speakers, and they're extremely easy and simple to connect. Overall, I would definitely recommend this router and this just overall Wi-Fi connection system to create a really fast, robust connection within your home that you can secure and be secured, that no one is going to be able to get into. Are you looking for some kind of new Wi-Fi connection system in your home? Do you have another suggestion other than the Google router? Go ahead and comment in the comment section down below. I'd love to know what you guys have to say. If you have this system and you have been using it, comment in the comment section down below as well. It definitely does help the community for actual users to share their experiences, so we do appreciate it. And while you're down there, if you enjoyed the video, don't be afraid to hit that like button and that subscribe button with that bell for notification. It does help the channel a lot, and that bell is actually pretty important because it's the only way you guys are going to know when we release some cool, helpful content like this one. Until next time, guys, you can check out a review we just did on the Google Nest Mini speaker. The speaker's about a year old. We kind of go over whether it's still worth your money today or not. And at the bottom is going to be something that YouTube believes you should enjoy watching. Guys, thanks so much again for checking out the video. And as always, make sure to stay safe out there. And until I see you next time, peace out.